Hello, I'm Alistair Stevenson, and today I'm reviewing the Sony Xperia Z head-to-head with the Apple iPhone 5. Now, the Xperia Z drew a lot of interest earlier this year when it was unveiled at CES 2013 in Las Vegas. However, the Apple iPhone 5, despite being midway through its life cycle, is still one of the world's most popular smartphones and is still used as a benchmark compared to any other phone whenever it's come out. For this reason, the Xperia Z has tried to pull a few tricks to differentiate itself from the top dog Apple smartphone. Chief of this is its IP57 certification. Now you can see, as well as being bigger, the device also has ports and plugs along all its ports. This is designed to make it water, scratch and dust resistant, meaning it should be a lot tougher than the iPhone 5, which, despite being made of metal, as we all know, is fairly prone to picking up scratch marks, particularly in the silver model that we have here. This means that the Xperia Z is a lot tougher despite not being made of metal. However, that said, the iPhone 5 is a lot smaller and lighter, making it feel a lot nicer in hand, measuring at 124 by 59 by 7.6 millimeters and weighing a feather light 112 grams. The Xperia Z, by comparison, measures in at 139 by 71 by 7.9 millimeters and weighs 146 grams. While this isn't back-breaking and it still feels fairly nice, it is a bit of an issue. Another thing we're not quite so keen on is, thanks to its increased size, the hard edges around here mean that it can feel a little uncomfortable in hand, especially when you're trying to hold it firmly to make a phone call. Another differentiator is Sony's custom mobile Bravia Engine 2 technology, which it claims makes its screen one of the best ever, improving clarity and colour balance. On paper, this works, with the 5-inch display boasting a 441 pixel per inch density. The iPhone 5, by comparison, only has a 4-inch 326 pixel per inch density. However, as you can see here, it doesn't really translate to making the screen look that much better to the naked eye. Additionally, we found that the colours on the Xperia Z do look a little washed out when compared to the slightly brighter iPhone 5. Another big issue is, and this is thanks to the IP57 certification, by coating it in such a large amount of Gorilla Glass to make it tough, the screen on the Xperia Z is far more prone to picking up glare, meaning that in outdoor conditions, where those with wanting a rugged smartphone would likely be using it, it's not that usable, especially when hit with bright sunlight. Another big change that they've made is the camera. Xperia Z packs a 13.1 megapixel rear camera loaded with Sony's own custom and text sensor. This is meant to be much better than the Apple iPhone's 8 megapixel rear camera. Now, testing the two devices head-to-head in a variety of lighting conditions and using all their various shooting modes, we have to say the Xperia Z is better than the iPhone 5 at shooting photos, particularly in low light, where the iPhone 5 really does struggle. Additionally, when blown up onto larger screens, the Xperia Z's photos are a lot crisper, whereas blown up the iPhone 5 photos can look slightly grainy. The other differentiating factor, and this is a common one to most Android smartphones these days, is the inclusion of a quad-core Qualcomm processor. The Xperia Z features a 1.5 GHz Snapdragon processor, whereas the iPhone 5 features a dual-core A6 processor, which Apple has declined to give the spec of. This is because Apple has consistently said it's not about the figure, and it's about how the technology is optimized with the software for performance. And in general, we found Apple to be right, because the iPhone 5 is still a very quick smartphone, beating most competition when in speed tests. However, midway through its life cycle, testing the Xperia Z, thanks to the inclusion of Project Butter, which comes with a Jelly Bean operating system, we found that the Xperia Z is every bit as smooth and powerful as the iPhone 5, and at points would beat it. Playing with their same games from both ecosystems on the same phone, we found that the Z could regularly outperform the iPhone 5, and for that reason we would say it was more powerful of the two, though whether you actually need this muscle at any point, given the lack of power-hungry apps in the ecosystem, is debatable. The iPhone 5 also comes with a lot more storage options, being available in 16, 32 or 64 gig versions. The Xperia Z, by comparison, only has 16. However, luckily this can be upgraded using its microSD card slot, so you can't be too annoyed. Additionally, given the number of cloud storage options out there, it's not too much of an issue. The biggest difference between the two, however, is their software, and this boils down to the classic debate: is it Android or iOS that you like? For Mac users, of course iOS 6 is better. Mac computers sync up with it better, and thanks to the iCloud, the services go cross-platform far easier. However, for Windows users, Android is still an open ecosystem, meaning it's a lot easier to make Microsoft services work on it and get various apps, third-party apps running. However, as always, and as we've said many times, Android is less secure thanks to its open nature, and there are mobile malware and Trojan attacks hitting it all the time. Meaning that if you are a business user, as shown in our video best practice guide, you really will want to get a solution, a protection solution, antivirus on here. In terms of other features, the Android also comes with far better Google Now services. Google Now is a really handy push update service that basically collates all the information stored on your Google account and use it to push up relevant updates, like your flight times, travel information, or local restaurants in your surrounding area. While some will be a little uncomfortable how much information it uses, it is fairly useful and is something that the Apple iPhone 5 doesn't have at the moment. Overall though, we would say the iPhone 5 is still a bit more of a compelling device than the Xperia Z. This is mainly because of the fact that if you are a Mac user, it does work better, and as a lot of businesses would like the security features, it is safer. I'm Alistair Stevenson, thanks for watching.